As my niece and I settled in for a night of house sitting at my elder brother's place while he and his wife were away, a curious moment unfolded. Amid our lively discussions about our plans for the following day, my niece surprised me by indicating she was ready for bed. With swift determination, she slipped into the closet without hesitation, leaving me momentarily stunned. Hastily reaching out to stop her, I was met with a puzzled look. I'm Melissa, a 24-year-old housewife, and my brother, 5 years my senior, has always been a steadfast presence since we lost our parents early in life. Our bond remained strong even after we both married, and we continue to lean on each other for support. While my in-laws are wonderful, they reside in Alaska, making it challenging to rely on them for immediate assistance. As for my brother Sam and his wife, their union was hastily arranged after a clash with her parents, leading to an ongoing estrangement. With no nearby relatives to lean on, our bond of unwavering support flourished. It grew even stronger when Sam and his wife welcomed their daughter, closely followed by the arrival of a little girl into my own family 4 years later. Living in the same city, the daughters became inseparable, akin to true sisters. As the years passed and my niece Sarah approached her 10th birthday, Sam shared his plans for a special 10th wedding anniversary trip. "Melissa, would you mind looking after Sarah while we're away?" Sam's request came with a touch of hesitation. "It's just a short overnight trip nearby, but we thought it'd be nice to have some time alone." I readily agreed, eager to assist. When we discussed logistics and I inquired about picking up Sarah, Sam shook his head, indicating a different plan. It became clear he wanted me to stay over at their house with Sarah, concerned about leaving it unattended for security reasons. I playfully teased Sam about his excessive concern but eventually relented. Opting to spend the night alone, I left my daughter, who still harbors some sleepover jitters, in the care of my husband. On the day of their anniversary getaway, I headed to Sam's house. Holding Sarah's hand, we bid farewell to her parents. She seemed a tad apprehensive as she watched them depart, but our house-sitting escapade was about to commence. Initially, I had planned to bring my daughter along and have my husband retrieve her at bedtime. However, Sarah adamantly refused, so I abandoned the idea. While I know she enjoys my daughter's company, she remained firm in her decision without offering an explanation. Sensing her disappointment, I'd offered to treat her to a playdate at my house after breakfast the next day, sparking a glimmer of excitement in her eyes. Sarah typically tailors her play to include my daughter, so I brought along some slightly more intricate games and puzzles that adults could also enjoy. As I laid them out, I asked her what she fancied playing. We whiled away the hours engaged in games and cooking dinner together, yet Sarah remained by my side, casting nervous glances around the room. Initially, I attributed her behavior to potential loneliness or lingering nerves from being away from her parents, but even after several hours, her demeanor didn't shift. Concerned, I gently probed if something troubled her, but no matter how many times I inquired, her response remained the same. "No, it's nothing," without divulging further. Sarah's guarded behavior hinted at an unseen apprehension. It wasn't until bedtime approached that I grasped the gravity of her unease. Sarah slipped into her pajamas, a smile adorning her face as she swung open the closet door, and declared her intention to turn in early, planning to head to my house in the morning. To my surprise, nestled within the closet was a bed, its presence catching me off guard. Attempting to make sense of the situation, I watched as Sarah swiftly settled onto the bed, bidding me good night while nudging the door close. My astonishment spilled out in a raised voice. "Wait, Sarah, are you planning to sleep in there?" Her response, delivered with a solemn expression, affirmed her decision. "Yes, but it's okay. I'll keep it slightly ajar. If anything happens, I'll wake up immediately." Concealing my bewilderment, I extended an invitation for Sarah to join me in my own bed. After some hesitation, she relented and joined me. She explained her desire to keep the bed in the closet as a hiding spot. Though perplexed by her reasoning, I reassured her it was perfectly acceptable. With a bright tone, I queried why she felt the need for a hiding spot. After extracting a promise from me not to chuckle, she leaned in and whispered, "The monster might come." At first, one might assume she was just an innocent child, but the tale she spun shattered any semblance of innocence. Sarah trembled, clinging tightly to my arm. "The monster is terrifying and cunning. It only shows up when Daddy's away. If it appears, Mommy has to fend it off, and I must stay hidden in the closet until she succeeds. Mommy always cries during the struggle." Once, I tried to assist her, but the monster's banging on the closet door scared me so much. I wrapped my arms around Sarah, feeling her tremble against me, and sighed deeply. Perhaps this monster was more than a bedtime tale. It felt too real. The revelation of my sister-in-law's affair, discovered in such an unexpected manner, left me adrift. If the supposed monster was indeed her lover, it wouldn't dare approach this house while she was absent. Yet Sarah firmly believed it targeted days when Daddy was away. As I observed Sarah's vigilance throughout the day, her proximity a shield against potential threats, my heart ached. Considering the gentle soul of my niece and my brother's unwavering trust in his wife, anger swelled within me towards my sister-in-law. But above all, I yearned to offer solace and reassurance to Sarah. I gently clasped Sarah's hand, offering her a reassuring smile. "Don't worry, Auntie's here today. You mentioned the monster is cunning, right? Well, it'll be caught off guard by a stranger like me and won't dare to come near the house. Besides, your mommy, who the monster always targets, is safe with Daddy right now, so it can't harm her." Despite my attempts to ease her anxiety, Sarah remained clouded with worry, unaware of the monster's true identity. With each passing moment, her apprehension grew, fearing an imminent attack. She suggested we seek refuge together in the closet, prompting me to encourage her to share her concerns about the monster. I hoped that by addressing her fears one by one, she would eventually find peace and drift off to sleep. As I listened to Sarah's distressing revelations, I realized I couldn't simply remain idle. Without hesitating, I whisked her out of the house, disregarding her attire, and swiftly drove us home. Upon arrival, I briefed my husband on the situation and coordinated for him and his friends to spend the night at Sam's house. Around 10 p.m., after my husband and his companions had departed, I received a call from Sam inquiring about Sarah's well-being. "Has Sarah already retired for the night? Don't forget to take care of yourself and your family too. Ensure the house is securely locked. Good night," he advised before bidding farewell. After inquiring about Sarah, Sam urged me to ensure the door was securely locked before retiring for the night. His stern warning resonated deeply, and I fought to steady my voice as I assured him. Once the call ended, I glanced at the peaceful slumber of Sarah and my daughter, steeling myself to confront the lurking menace. The following morning, my husband returned from my brother's house, and my emotions swirled with a mixture of fear and anger as he recounted the events of the previous night. Relief washed over me, knowing my actions had been justified. We spent the remainder of the day at home, anxiously awaiting my brother and his wife's arrival to retrieve Sarah. Upon laying eyes on me, my brother's demeanor shifted to stern interrogation. He demanded to know why Sarah and I had departed his house during the night. "Why didn't you stay put as I instructed? I explicitly warned you not to leave. You claim to understand, so what possessed you to return home on your own?" His accusations left me feeling uneasy, prompting me to question how, while on a trip, he was aware of our absence. Avoiding direct eye contact, he reluctantly confessed, "We provided Sarah with a smartphone equipped with GPS." His revelation contradicted his earlier insistence on not leaving the house during our phone call the previous night. If he had indeed monitored the GPS, he would have easily discerned our departure. Suppressing my urge to confront Sam then and there, I maintained a composed demeanor, mindful not to disturb the children in the adjacent room. "By the way, did you have visitors last night?" My brother's tone shifted, his concern palpable. "Two unfamiliar men showed up at your house late. Who are they? Why would they come to a house that's meant to be occupied only by Sarah and you in the dead of night?" His voice quivered, though not from fear of the unknown intruders, but from a different source altogether. As he spoke, it became evident he was treading cautiously, his eyes darting around. "About those men," I pressed for clarification, but my brother's attempts at evasion were interrupted by his wife, Kate. Whether she was anxious about further discussion or for other reasons, she abruptly called for Sarah and declared they were heading home. As Sarah emerged from another room upon hearing her mother's call, Kate seized her hand with an unmistakable force. Abruptly, Sam's demeanor shifted, his words carrying an abrupt finality. "I can't forgive what happened, but we're leaving today," he declared, urging Sarah to depart the room. Despite my efforts to dissuade them, my brother and his wife remained resolute in their decision to leave. Ignoring my pleas, they pressed on without a backward glance. Witnessing Sarah's resistance to her parents' departure, I swiftly drew her close. "What's going on?" Kate's startled cry echoed as she released Sarah's hand, but I shielded the child behind me, creating a barrier between us and the departing couple. Amidst their hostile tirade, my husband and I stood firm, adamantly refusing to surrender Sarah. As they advanced toward us with fury in their eyes, we managed to usher them out of the room, firmly asserting our stance against allowing Sarah to be taken away. Swiftly, a waiting police officer intervened, promptly detaining the agitated couple. Confusion reigned as the officers attempted to contact my brother and his wife. Sam vehemently insisted to the officer that it was we who should be detained, alleging that we had taken Sarah from her home and were holding her against her will. My sister and her husband have abducted her from her rightful place. Please rescue her swiftly, he implored, despite our protests. Our daughter, emerging from the chaos, sought refuge behind me, engaging Sarah in a bewildered conversation, affirming she was not being held against her will. Sam's stern demand for Sarah to accompany him fell on deaf ears as she clung to my side, paralyzed by her father's towering anger. Kate remained silent beside the officer, casting furtive glances at Sam, hinting at an unspoken message intended for him and Sarah. As the officer restrained Sam, who was causing a scene at the entrance, my husband intervened, holding his smartphone aloft. Sensing the tension, I ushered Sarah and our daughter back into the adjacent room, urging them to close the door to muffle any sounds. With their safety ensured, my husband silently played a video he had recorded in my brother's house the previous night. As the footage unfolded before their eyes, a ghostly pallor washed over the couple's faces, betraying the shock of realization. The video unfolded with eerie precision, capturing the quiet turning of the house key followed by the stealthy entrance of two unknown men, seemingly armed with a duplicate key. Their jovial demeanor upon entering, coupled with mentions of my brother's name, sent shivers down our spines. "You guys are ghosts too, huh?" they quipped, followed by a chilling joke about discounted rates, invoking my familial connection. With smirks etched across their faces, they directed their attention to my husband and his friends. Evading direct inquiries, my husband's friend offered a vague response, prompting one of the men to boast about the sum paid, hinting at a close relationship with my brother and his wife. Their unsettling remarks took a darker turn as they casually mentioned their plans involving Sarah. As the camera caught a glimpse of their profile, a sinister aura emanated, rendering them more villainous than any mere monster. From my vantage point, the screen remained obscured, but the chilling audio alone sent shivers down my spine. Following the playback, my husband's friends wasted no time interrogating the intruders, probing into their frequent visits and habitual pairings. Their inquiries soon turned to Sarah and me, a sense of urgency tainting their tone. My husband's terse admission of our absence seemed to jolt the intruders into reality, realizing the gravity of their situation. With mounting tension, the men made a hasty exit, their hurried departure leaving lingering questions in their wake. Whether they had overlooked my husband's recording until the last moment or deliberately concealed its existence remained unclear. My brother, appearing visibly shaken, vehemently protested his ignorance, clinging to the belief that he was being framed. However, the damning evidence presented in the video, entrusted to me and young Sarah by my brother, shattered any lingering doubts. His feigned ignorance failed to sway anyone, leading to his apprehension by the authorities. Kate, though feigning innocence, found herself under scrutiny as well, her involvement questioned by the officers who had heard Sarah's testimony. Consequently, both Sam and Kate were escorted into custody, their roles in the unfolding drama under intense scrutiny. During the police investigation, Sam and Kate eventually came clean, leading to their arrest. Shockingly, Kate had been orchestrating a lucrative scheme, inviting men to their home while Sam was away at work and profiting from their visits. When she realized there was a demand for children, she exploited Sarah, carefully skirting the law to assist her mother, who was under pressure from unsavory individuals. Innocent Sarah, unaware of the sinister motives, innocently posed for photos which Kate used to entice potential clients. These were innocent snapshots, devoid of any suggestive content, captured with a disposable camera and only lent out to interested parties, never sold. While I detested Kate for her actions initially, it seemed like a matter that didn't directly concern my husband and me. However, things took a darker turn when Sam not only condemned but actively participated in the exploitation, rather than reprimanding his wife or protecting their daughter. So, instead of addressing the issue, Sam decided to expand the operation, recruiting men to become clients, believing that more employees would lead to increased revenue. With this simple yet flawed logic, he devised a plan to involve me in his business. Knowing I would never willingly agree, he resorted to coercion, using the threat of exposing the photos as leverage. Their scheme took a sinister turn when they carefully selected a day when the neighbors were absent, locking both Sarah and me inside their house. Then, without a second thought, they exchanged their house key for a large sum of money and departed on a pre-planned vacation, leaving us behind. Unbeknownst to them, Sarah, who had always dutifully obeyed their commands, chose to reveal the truth in order to protect me. Despite her limited understanding of the conversations, Sarah sensed the danger lurking around us, and she confided in me, unveiling the nightmarish reality of Sam's household. Faced with this revelation, I implored my husband to capture the perpetrator's activities on camera that very night. Their inadvertent disclosure provided crucial evidence for the police, prompting swift action upon my report. Simultaneously, I notified child welfare services to ensure Sarah's safety. From the vantage point of the police bus, we watched as Sam and Kate were apprehended at their doorstep, finally shielding Sarah from their grasp. Despite being first-time offenders, the severity of their crimes, including violations of child welfare and anti-prostitution laws, warranted their imprisonment. The police emphasized the gravity of the situation, particularly the implications of the stored images of the child, which could never be completely eradicated once leaked online. The chilling reality of their actions struck me to the core as the police relayed this information. Fortunately, Kate hadn't digitized or sold the photos of Sarah and had kept them securely stored, averting any potential leaks. It's baffling to comprehend how my once kind and dependable brother Sam could devolve into such a monstrous figure. Until then, our relationship had been characterized by mutual support, making it all the more frightening to realize how deeply he had descended into darkness. Despite their arrests, I still grapple with the enormity of their actions. Following Sam and Kate's apprehension, the authorities also interrogated the other individuals involved. Initially, they attempted to claim innocence, arguing that it was merely an attempted crime. However, the discovery of a child's photograph in their possession and the revelation of additional criminal activities confessed by Sam and Kate during the investigation led to their arrest on multiple charges. After dealing with the monsters and their associates, our next concern was Sarah's well-being. With both her parents unfit for guardianship and no family willing to step in, Child Protective Services decided to remove her from their care. While this was a relief, Sam and I faced the harsh reality that neither of us had parental figures, and Kate's family had severed ties. We discovered that if we couldn't find a suitable guardian within Kate's family, Sarah would be placed in foster care. After much deliberation with my husband, we made the decision to adopt her. Sarah held a special place in my heart, and I couldn't bear the thought of parting ways with her. Thankfully, my husband shared my sentiment, and we saw this as an opportunity to start anew in the countryside, closer to my in-laws. Moving to the countryside not only provided Sarah with stability but also allowed my daughter to spend more time with her grandparents, whom she adored. She was thrilled to have Sarah as her older sister, fulfilling her long-standing wish. Free from the clutches of her parents, Sarah quickly adapted to her new role and environment, embracing a life filled with peace and happiness.